I drove 7 hours from Seattle to Willow Creek Vineyard in Northern California for my brother Ethan's engagement party. Walked into that elegant venue with my gift in hand and hope in my heart, only to see a complete stranger sitting at the head table where my nameplate used to be. When I asked Ethan about it, he barely looked up from his champagne and shrugged. Oh yeah, Celeste's dog sitter Brianna needed somewhere to sit, and you know how it is. That single moment, that casual dismissal, shattered everything I thought I knew about my place in this family and started a chain of events that would change my life forever. Let me take you back to the beginning of this story because you need to understand who I was before that October weekend, and more importantly, who I thought my family was. My name is Riley. I'm 32 years old, and I work as a senior marketing coordinator for a sustainable clothing company in Seattle. I live in a cozy one-bedroom apartment in Capitol Hill with my rescue cat, Moonbeam, and honestly, I'd built what I thought was a pretty good life for myself. Nothing too flashy, but stable, peaceful, and mine. Ethan is my younger brother by 4 years, and for most of our lives, I've been the responsible older sister. You know the type, the one who remembered his soccer practice schedule when our parents were too busy fighting, the one who helped him with college applications, the one who drove 6 hours each way to help him move into his first apartment after graduation. I was proud of that role. It felt important, meaningful. Our parents, David and Margaret Chen Morrison, divorced when I was 16 and Ethan was 12. It was one of those messy, drawn-out affairs that lasted almost 2 years and left everyone financially and emotionally drained. After that, I naturally stepped into this caretaker role for Ethan. Our mom moved to Phoenix to find herself, and our dad threw himself into work. So I became the constant in Ethan's life. I helped him through high school heartbreaks, celebrated when he got into UC Berkeley, and cheered the loudest at his graduation. When he moved to San Francisco for his job at a tech startup, I visited regularly. When he started dating Celeste Harrington 3 years ago, I was genuinely excited for him. She seemed sweet in that polished sorority girl way, and more importantly, she made him happy. Celeste comes from money, old California wine country money. Her family owns several vineyards around Napa and Sonoma, and she works in their family business doing something vague but important sounding with brand development and experiential marketing. She's beautiful in that effortless way that comes from good genes and expensive skincare, always perfectly put together, always knowing exactly what to say in social situations. I'll be honest, I was a little intimidated by her at first, not because she was unkind, she was always pleasant to me, but because she represented this world I'd never been part of. A world where people had wine cellars and went to charity galas and casually mentioned their ski trips to Aspen. But I liked her. She made Ethan laugh. She seemed to genuinely care about him. And when they announced their engagement 6 months ago, I was thrilled. Finally, I thought, Ethan was building the kind of stable, loving relationship he deserved. The engagement party was Celeste's idea, of course, a casual celebration before the real wedding planning chaos begins, she called it. She wanted to have it at Willow Creek Vineyard, one of her family's properties, about 2 hours north of San Francisco. When Ethan called to invite me, he was so excited, talking about how beautiful the venue was, how Celeste had planned this amazing menu with wine pairings, and how it was going to be intimate but elegant. Just close family and friends, he said. Maybe 40 people total. You'll love it, Riley, and you'll finally get to meet more of Celeste's family and her college friends. I marked the date immediately, blocked it off on my work calendar, started looking at outfits, even bought a new dress, this beautiful, deep burgundy wrap dress that I found at Nordstrom, and definitely couldn't afford, but convinced myself was an investment piece. The week leading up to the party, I was genuinely excited. I'd been working so much lately, pulling long hours on a major campaign launch, and I was looking forward to a weekend away. I planned to drive down Friday afternoon, check into the little bed and breakfast Ethan had recommended in nearby Healdsburg, attend the party Saturday evening, and maybe do some wine tasting Sunday before driving home. I'd even bought them an engagement gift I was particularly proud of, a beautiful vintage compass from this antique shop in Pike Place Market, engraved with their names and engagement date. The shop owner had told me it was from the 1940s, probably used by a ship's navigator. I thought it was perfect, something unique and meaningful to help them navigate their journey together. I'd had it professionally wrapped in cream paper with a red burgundy ribbon that matched my dress. The drive down should have been my first clue that something was off. But I was too focused on the road and my playlist to notice the warning signs. I left Seattle around noon on Friday, October 14th. The weather was perfect, one of those crisp, clear October days when the fall colors are just starting to show and the air smells like possibility. I'd made this drive before to visit Ethan, so I knew the route well. Down I-5 through Portland, then inland toward wine country. About 3 hours in, somewhere around Eugene, Oregon, my phone rang. It was Ethan. "Hey, Riley, how's the drive going?" "Great," I said, adjusting my Bluetooth. "Just past Eugene. Should be there around 5-ish. "Perfect. Hey, quick question. You're staying at the Heldsburg Inn, right?" "Yeah, you recommended it. Why?" There was a pause. "Oh, no reason. It's just Celeste's cousin Brooke was supposed to stay there too, but there was some mix-up with her reservation. She might need to find somewhere else." "That's too bad. But it's wine country in October, so everywhere's probably booked solid." "Yeah, probably." Another pause. "Hey, you know what? If worst comes to worst, maybe you could share your room. I know it's not ideal, but family, right?" I felt the first little flutter of unease, but I pushed it down. "Sure, if she really needs it, though I only booked a single queen room." "You're the best, Riley. I knew I could count on you." After we hung up, I felt slightly unsettled, but I told myself I was being silly. So what if I might have to share a room? It was one night, and it would be a nice way to get to know more of Celeste's family. The second call came an hour later. "Riley, it's me again. So good news and bad news about the room situation." "Okay." "Good news is Brooke found a place to stay with some friends in Santa Rosa. Bad news is... well, it's not really bad news, just a small change. Celeste's dog sitter, Brianna, is driving up from LA for the party. Apparently, she's been with the family forever, and Celeste really wanted her there. And she was supposed to stay with Celeste's parents, but their guest house is being fumigated." I waited, sensing where this was going. "I know it's a huge ask, but could she possibly crash with you? Just for Saturday night. She's super sweet, very quiet, and it would really help us out. Celeste has been so stressed about all the party details." I gripped the steering wheel a little tighter. "Ethan, I don't even know this person." I know, but she's practically family to the Harringtons. She's been taking care of their dogs for like 5 years. And honestly, Riley, it would mean a lot to Celeste if we could make this work." There it was, the thing I could never say no to. Making things work for other people. Being the solution to other people's problems. Being helpful, accommodating, reliable Riley. "Okay," I heard myself say. "But she'll need to bring her own sleeping bag or something. I only have one bed." "You're amazing. Thank you so much. I owe you big time." But even as I agreed, something felt off. Why was the dog sitter coming to the engagement party? I'd been to plenty of family events, and I'd never seen anyone invite their pet sitter. And why was it becoming my responsibility to house Celeste's family overflow? The third call came just as I was pulling into Heldsburg. "Riley, tiny update about tomorrow." I was tired from the drive. My back was sore, and I was starting to get a headache. "What now, Ethan?" "So, you know how the party starts at 6 with cocktails?" "Yes." "Well, Celeste's aunt is running late from Sacramento, so we're going to push everything back by an hour. Cocktails at 7, dinner at 8:30. "Fine." I was already walking toward the bed and breakfast, my overnight bag slung over my shoulder. "Oh, and one more tiny thing." The seating chart got a little shuffled around. I stopped walking. "What do you mean?" "Nothing major. You're still at a great table. Actually, probably better than before. You'll be with some of Celeste's college friends. They're super fun." "Ethan, where was I sitting before?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, where was I originally going to sit?" Silence. "Ethan?"
Well, Celeste's grandmother flew in from Connecticut, so obviously she gets priority seating. And then there's her aunt and uncle from Sacramento. And Celeste's cousin Marcus brought his new girlfriend, Ethan. And Brianna, the dog sitter, she's been like family to them for so long, and she drove all the way up from LA. I stood there on the sidewalk outside the Heldsburg Inn, holding my phone, feeling like I'd been punched in the stomach. You gave my seat to the dog sitter. Riley, it's not like that. You gave my seat at the family table to someone who takes care of dogs. She's not just someone who takes care of dogs. She's been part of their lives for years, and I hung up. I stood there for a full minute watching couples walk by hand in hand, probably heading to romantic dinners at wine country restaurants, and I tried to process what had just happened. My own brother had bumped me from the family table at his engagement party to make room for his fiancée's dog sitter. But I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe he was right. Maybe I would have more fun with people my own age. Maybe the family table would be boring anyway, full of small talk about wine production and charity boards. I checked into the inn, took a hot shower, ordered room service, and went to bed early. Tomorrow would be better. Tomorrow was about celebrating Ethan and Celeste, not about seating arrangements or hurt feelings. I woke up Saturday morning determined to have a good attitude. I got coffee at the little cafe down the street, wandered around Healdsburg's charming downtown, bought some local honey and artisanal soap to take home. I even found a cute boutique and bought a pair of earrings that would go perfectly with my burgundy dress. Around 2 o'clock, Brianna the dog sitter texted me. Ethan had given her my number. "Hi, Riley, I'm Brianna. Ethan said I could crash with you tonight. I'm driving up from LA now and should be there around 4. Thank you so much for letting me stay with you. This is so nice of you. Pink heart." I texted back that it was fine and gave her the room number. She arrived at 4:30, dragging a huge suitcase and carrying a garment bag, a makeup case, and what appeared to be a small cooler. "Riley, oh my God, you're so pretty. I love your hair." Brianna was probably 25, tall and blonde with perfectly contoured makeup and the kind of effortlessly beachy waves that take an hour and expensive products to achieve. "Thank you again for letting me stay here. The Harringtons are like family to me, so this party is super important." She immediately began spreading her belongings across every available surface in the room. The bathroom counter disappeared under an array of skincare products and makeup. The dresser became a staging area for what appeared to be 3 different outfit options. She hung her garment bag in the closet right next to my burgundy dress. "What are you wearing tonight?" she asked, pulling out a stunning black off-the-shoulder cocktail dress that probably cost more than my rent. "The burgundy one," I said, pointing to the closet. "Oh, cute! Very fall appropriate. I was torn between this black one and this emerald green one, but Celeste said the family photos are going to be in the garden, so I thought black would be more elegant for the backdrop." Family photos that I apparently wouldn't be in since I wasn't sitting at the family table. "Are you in the family photos?" I asked. "Oh yeah, Celeste specifically asked me to be in them. She says I'm like the sister she never had." Brianna was now unpacking what appeared to be a professional-level curling iron. We are super close. I mean, I know people think of me as just the dog sitter, but I've been there for all the important moments, you know? When Celeste's parents got divorced, when her grandmother had her heart surgery, when she and Ethan first started dating, I'm basically part of the family. I sat on the edge of the bed, watching this stranger take over my hotel room and talk about being like a sister to my future sister-in-law, and I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "How long have you known the family?" I asked. 5 years. I started when I was in college at UCLA. Celeste's mom hired me to walk their golden retriever, Gatsby, and their little French bulldog, Coco. But it became so much more than that, you know? I house sit when they travel, I help with party planning. I even helped Celeste pick out her engagement ring. She helped pick out the engagement ring. The dog sitter helped my brother's fiancée pick out her engagement ring, and I found out about their engagement through a text message. That's, nice, I managed. Yeah, Mrs. Harrington always says I have amazing taste. Actually, I'm the one who suggested Willow Creek for tonight's party. I was like, Celeste, you have to use the vineyard. It's so romantic and perfect for photos. So the dog sitter had suggested the venue too. I excused myself and went for a walk around Healdsburg, trying to clear my head and shake off the growing feeling that I was walking into something I didn't understand. But I kept telling myself the same thing I'd been telling myself for years. Be supportive, be flexible, don't make waves. This was Ethan's big moment, and whatever weird family dynamics were happening with Celeste's family, it wasn't about me. I got back to the room around 5:30 to find Brianna in full hair and makeup mode. The bathroom looking like a Sephora had exploded. Oh, good, you're back. I wasn't sure what time you wanted to start getting ready. I looked at my simple makeup routine, foundation, mascara, lipstick, and realized it was going to take me about 20 minutes to get ready. I'm pretty low maintenance. I'll just wait until you're done. Oh, you should let me do your makeup. I went to cosmetology school before I started the dog sitting business. I could make your eyes really pop. I politely declined, but as I watched her transform herself into what looked like a magazine cover model, I started to feel distinctly underdressed and underprepared. At 6:45, we drove to Willow Creek Vineyard in our separate cars. The vineyard was absolutely beautiful. Rolling hills covered in grapevines, a stunning stone building that looked like it belonged in Tuscany, twinkling lights strung everywhere. Luxury cars filled the parking area. BMWs, Mercedes, a few Porsches. I parked my 6-year-old Honda Civic between a Tesla and a Range Rover and tried to summon my earlier optimism. This was going to be fine. This was going to be a lovely evening celebrating my brother's engagement. I was going to meet interesting people, eat delicious food, and be genuinely happy for Ethan and Celeste. I walked toward the entrance, my engagement gift in hand, my burgundy dress flowing in the gentle evening breeze, ready to celebrate love and family and new beginnings. I had no idea I was about to walk into a master class in family hierarchy, and that by the end of the night, everything I thought I knew about my place in my brother's life would be shattered beyond repair. But in that moment, walking up the stone path toward the warm glow of the vineyard, I was still hopeful, optimistic, Riley. I was still the sister who believed that family meant something. I was still the person who thought that showing up and caring and being reliable would always be enough. I was about to learn just how wrong I was. Walking into Willow Creek Vineyard that evening felt like stepping into a fairy tale. The golden hour light filtered through the grapevines, casting everything in this warm, romantic glow. String lights twinkled overhead, and there were elegant floral arrangements everywhere. White roses, eucalyptus, and what looked like very expensive peonies. Classical music played softly from hidden speakers, and waiters in crisp white shirts moved gracefully through the gathering crowd with trays of champagne and hors d'oeuvres. I stood for a moment just inside the entrance, taking it all in. This was definitely more elaborate than the casual celebration Ethan had described. The guests looked like they'd stepped out of a Napa Valley lifestyle magazine. The women in designer dresses and statement jewelry, the men in perfectly tailored blazers and expensive watches. I suddenly felt very aware of my Nordstrom dress and Target shoes. But I pushed that insecurity aside. I was here for Ethan, and I was determined to enjoy myself. I spotted my brother almost immediately. He was standing near a rustic wooden bar setup, laughing with a group of men who all looked like they belonged at a country club. Even from across the courtyard, I could see how happy he looked. His face was glowing, and he had that relaxed confidence that comes from being exactly where you want to be, surrounded by exactly the right people. Celeste was next to him, of course, looking absolutely radiant in a flowing cream-colored dress that probably cost more than my monthly salary. Her dark hair was swept into an elegant updo, and she wore pearls that caught the light every time she moved. She looked like she had been born for moments like this. I made my way over to them, weaving through clusters of guests who were all deep in animated conversations about things like wine vintages and upcoming trips to Europe. Riley! Ethan spotted me and broke away from his group, pulling me into a big hug. You made it! You look beautiful! For a moment, everything felt normal. This was my little brother, the same kid I'd helped with homework and driven to soccer practice, the same person who used to call me when he was homesick his first year of college. Congratulations, I said, meaning it. This place is incredible. Right? Celeste outdid herself with the planning. He gestured toward his fiancée, who was now gracefully accepting congratulations from an elderly couple. Come on, let me reintroduce you to some people. We walked over to Celeste, who greeted me with air kisses and a bright smile that seemed genuine enough. Riley, I'm so glad you could make it. That color is gorgeous on you. She paused, tilting her head slightly. You know, Brianna has a dress almost that exact same shade. You two have similar taste. I felt the first small prick of something, not quite irritation, but awareness. Why was she comparing me to the dog sitter? Speaking of Brianna, Ethan said, she should be here soon. I think you two are going to get along great. Before I could respond, Celeste's attention was pulled away by another group of arrivals, and Ethan was immediately absorbed into conversations about craft beer and startup life. I found myself standing alone, holding my gift, watching the party swirl around me. That's when I started to notice things. The first thing I noticed was how easily everyone seemed to fit in. Conversations flowed effortlessly. People greeted each other with the kind of familiarity that comes from moving in the same social circles for years. There were inside jokes about mutual friends, casual references to shared experiences at other weddings and parties, discussions about vacation homes and wine club memberships. I tried to join a few conversations, but I kept feeling like I was speaking a slightly different language. When someone mentioned their recent trip to their place in Tahoe, I mentioned my weekend camping trip to the Olympic Peninsula. When they talked about their wine collection, I mentioned that I had recently discovered I really liked Oregon Pinots. The conversations didn't stop exactly, but they shifted in a way that made it clear I was on the outside. The second thing I noticed was that I couldn't find the table arrangements anywhere. Usually at events like this, there's a display near the entrance showing people where they're sitting. I looked around for several minutes before finally asking one of the waiters. Oh, the seating chart is inside the main dining room, but cocktail hour will be out here for another hour or so. I decided to wait. No need to seem eager about table assignments. The third thing I noticed was when Brianna arrived. I heard her before I saw her, that distinctive laugh that somehow manages to be both loud and musical at the same time. I turned toward the entrance, and there she was, making her grand entrance in that stunning black dress she had shown me earlier. But it wasn't just the dress. She moved through the party like she belonged there, like she had been to 100 events just like this. And the way people greeted her, it wasn't like meeting someone new. It was like welcoming family. Brianna! Celeste practically glided over to her, and they embraced like sisters. Not the air kisses I had received, but a real warm hug. You look absolutely perfect, Celeste said, stepping back to admire Brianna's outfit. That dress is everything.